Looking for something to do? Our online daily planner includes activities throughout Northwest Washington. Just log on to kvos.com and check it out.
Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink is the first book in history dedicated to comparing the relative harms and illogical legal status of the nation's two most popular recreational substances. Former Seattle Chief of Police Norm Stamper, who wrote the foreword to the highly acclaimed new book, joins us today. Norm, explain where we're at with this whole issue.
Well, 100 million Americans have tried marijuana at least once. So despite the fact that it's unlawful, despite the fact that it carries often in many jurisdictions very harsh penalties, a whole lot of us who call themselves American have in fact used that drug at least once. And many are regular users. The purpose behind this book was to illustrate the distinction between the other most popular recreational drug, namely alcohol, and the dangers associated with the crime and violence connected to alcohol and not to marijuana.
Now, how did we get to this point? Because at what point did someone decide that smoking marijuana is a criminal activity, but drinking alcohol is okay?
Well, for a long time, 13 years, alcohol was not okay. You were not allowed to possess it or to consume it. We called that prohibition. It lasted from 1920 to 1933. It gave rise to enormous lawlessness. Prohibition does that. So the real question fundamentally is, what are the relative harms associated with each of these substances, both of which can be abused, clearly. Alcohol, since 1933, has been lawful. It's been regulated. Kids can't walk into a liquor store and buy a six-pack or a pint of peach brandy or what have you. They can score marijuana, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, much easier than purchasing alcohol today.
Now, the whole book kind of draws the conclusion that the fact that that marijuana is illegal actually steers people towards alcohol. Explain that theory a little bit.
Well, most of us by instinct don't want to break the law. So we recognize that
I think that's pretty common.
One of those two recreational drugs is legal, the other is not. So what that does is in fact steer a certain percentage of the population toward that product which is legal, and that of course is alcohol.
You have an extensive career in law enforcement. Talk about your personal experience with people who abuse these drugs or use these drugs.
I would love to do that. One of the things that I quickly found out as a rookie beat cop in San Diego, where I did spend 28 years, is that you walk into a domestic violence situation, certainly by definition a barroom brawl or what have you, you're going to be picking up the characteristic scent of alcohol. Alcohol does get abused. It gets abused a lot. And oftentimes it contributes. It never causes, but it contributes to domestic violence, to child abuse, to other forms of violence when people flex their beer muscles, so to speak. In 2009, we are still looking at marijuana as a prohibited substance and alcohol as a legal substance.
Do you really think we can change this?
I believe we can, and I really do believe we will. I think we are at what people commonly refer to as the tipping point. Mm-hmm. The majority of Americans, 77%, believe the drug war has failed. I believe it's the worst social policy since slavery. It has caused far more harm than good. It has resulted in the incarceration of tens of millions of Americans for nonviolent drug offenses. It has broken up families and, tragically, wildly disproportionately in African American and Latino communities, among young people, among poor people. We are now incarcerating 25% of the world's prisoners, and we have about 5% of the world's population. That's not something to point to with pride. That should be a source of embarrassment and shame for us. And we can do better. We can actually reserve those prison cells for the radically evil, frankly, among us, the dangerous, the sociopaths, the psychopaths, those who seem to have no conscience and are not reluctant to hurt other people. Contrast that to an adult's consumption of marijuana in the privacy of his or her own home, and it's pretty hard to rationalize.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by today, Norm Stamper, former Seattle police chief, and the book is called Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? And remember, you can always experience more at KVOS.com.